Everybody, Big Mass, Tuckasegee Fly Shop in living color. Wanted to talk to you folks about indicators. The indicators, there are plenty of them. They can be a little bit confusing, but here at the shop we do offer you several different ones. So I want to kind of go over the indicators, how you attach the indicator to the leader, because sometimes we get asked that as well, and it's not a dumb question at all. But understand that it is a tool, and it's something that you're going to probably find what works best for you, and that's probably what you'll stick with. A lot of these indicators will come in various sizes. So if you like a particular style, you might be able to get 3 different sizes in that particular indicator and have you that selection. So when you need those out on the water, you have them. Let's see, where do we start? Well, what is an indicator? Well, an indicator is basically a fancy word for a bobber. So if you grew up as a kid fishing, if you're doing anything like in a lake or a pond, you might have had your Snoopy pole or your Batman pole or your Doc Demon pole. You might have had a red and white colored bobber that you pushed the top. You had a little clip that come down, you hooked it to your line. You had a hook with bait on it and you cast it out and it's floating and you're waiting for it to do this. And then you would set the hook for a fish. In fly fishing, we've taken those and we've modified them and we call them indicators. But it's basically a chain of communication, if you think about it. It's going to send you a signal to let you know that something has happened to your fly subsurface. Meaning, has it hit a rock? Has it hit a branch? Have you had a change in your current seams subsurface that we can't see? But it's telling you that you need to react in a certain way. One of the things that is misleading about indicators when it comes to fly fishing aspects, in my opinion, is that most people feel like the indicator has to go completely under the water for there to be a fish. And it is further from the truth. Honestly, when your indicator is floating down the water, if you see a little slight twist like this, you need to be setting your hook, okay? It does not have to go underwater. When these fish hit super light and they sip and they spit these flies out at a moment's notice, you don't have that time to wait for this to go under. But also, what I just mentioned there, these fish are so quick in sucking in that fly and spitting it out, you're going to miss some fish on indicators as well. But that's why there's so many different ones out there for you. And one of the ones that we failed to put on the table would be the ones that you would use in your tight line nymphing as well. It's kind of that cider material type with your different colors that we forgot to put on the table. But anyway, let's just kind of start here with the basics and we're going to work up and I'll talk about attaching some of these indicators. And as always, if you have any questions, be sure to send us an email or comment down below and one of us here at the shop will get back to you. And if you do find this content very helpful to you, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and don't hesitate to share with all your buddies out there as well. So we're going to start with different indicators. I'm going to slide my glasses on here right quick. As older I get, the harder it is for me to see. So one of the things we're going to start with is going to be your stick-on indicators. These happen to be here by Orvis. They're very inexpensive. These come in at $6.99 for a pack of these. They're fluorescent yellow, they're fluorescent orange. You'll see them in different colors. And I'm going to open up the pack and they come on a sticky sheet, just like so. And it's a foam. Don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's foam and it looks like the shape of a football. It's like you got 2 Snoopy footballs right there, but you're going to peel that off and you're going to wrap that around your leader. Now, you don't have any adjustability. You have to pull that off and you're going to leave some residue on your leader. That's one of the things about this. However, they're very light. And with small flies, it can be very sensitive. So there is a use for this. And we have a lot of folks who are fishing, midge type nymphs and things. This can be an excellent choice for them, where something even in an airlock maybe in a 1/2 inch may be too big. You may be missing those opportunities where something that's really light, you're going to get quicker feedback and know, hey, something has happened. I need to react positively to set that hook. So pros, they're light, they're inexpensive. Cons, you get one use out of them and you don't have the adjustability and they will leave a little bit of residue. You have to decide whether the pros outweigh the cons in your particular situation. Be well-rounded and have many different options out there for you, okay? Okay, Let's go on to another style, which would kind of be, once again, in a bobber style. This is a thingabobber, jam stop thingabobber. So you will see these in two different configurations. You will see them where they keep the little stud to run through the hole right there, or you will actually see these without that at all. So just imagine it looking like that, looking like a little buoy, okay? There's two ways you can put this on your leader. The first way is if you take your leader and you get to your tippet section, you take your tippet, you can run it through the hole just like so, and then you try to set it to where you want it. You take your jam stop just like that, okay? So what are some of the pros of this? Well, we're not kinking the line. You know, you're not kinking your leader, which is important. Infinite adjustability, okay? You can slide it up and down, okay, which is nice. The cons, kind of the things that I see that are negative about this is if you're doing some false casting, I have seen these slide down definitely into your tippet section. So if it's not as thick, these have the tendency to slide. And also with these here, the splash, the signature you leave on the water when this hits the water. So a lot of these other styles, we're going to talk about that there a little bit. On stockfish, it's not so much of an issue, but on wild fish, you know, it could be something where it's not natural for them to have that splash on the water. So you have to keep that in mind. Easy to do though. They float exceptionally well and they're pretty sensitive. The other way that you would attach this indicator is, let's go ahead and remove this jam stop right here. We're going to pull this off just like so. You can see that opening right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the leader here and I want to double it over. I want to come to where it's a little bit thicker here, folks. Just going to double it over like so. Just like that. See that right there? And you can slide it through like so. And this is how you would put it on if you didn't have the little stud there on it. But here you kind of have to work it around that, okay? Which is a pain in the old rumpus dumpus. And then you've got it attached that way. So you see that right there? So what you can do, you can modify these, and you do see people modify these. I know I have. I'm sure Justin and Bobby has as well. But you can actually take, and if you can cut that off. A lot of folks will cut that off there as well. If you want to double it up, you can stick it through there. But at that point, it's a mute point. And then just to remove it, you just kind of repeat that process. But that stud definitely is in the way there when you do it this style. Once again, we do sell a lot of these. They're effective. They've been around for a long time. They are really light. They are super, super light. And I took it off, and right there's our leader, just like so. But it's a jam stop thingabobber. Jam stop thingabobber. You can do it one of two ways, just like I said. You decide which way works best for you. 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and I can't remember if they come in 1 inch, but 1/2 inch and 3/4 are our most common sizes that we sell in any of our indicators out there. We're going to go on to another style, which is going to be another one that Orvis does. It's the Corks. These are, gosh, Cork's probably the oldest bobber indicator that we probably have if we did a little bit of research on this. These things you can get, they come in a 3-pack like so, $6.99, pretty inexpensive. They actually are almost pretty indestructible, meaning that if you have a chunk taken out of this, it's still going to float. It's still going to work. Where some of these others, if this was to get a hole in it, which I've not seen, I don't know if y'all seen it happen, it would take on water and sink like the Titanic. But this here, of course, will keep on going like a naval ship because of watertight integrity. The way you attach these guys is, all we have is that particular attachment point. I just did it a while ago, so we're going to take your leader. I'm just going to grab this section here. It's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit easier for you to see. I want to take it. Just you kind of double it over like that. We're going to go in like so. Can you see that all right, Justin? Mm-hmm. Beautiful. and then we just walk it across like this, okay? That's it. That's how you attach it. Now, to adjust that, what you have to do is you have to undo that loop, and then you put it where you want it and you re-loop it, okay? So that's how you adjust it. So you do have adjustability on both these. Here, these are just a little bit different. Will kink your line over time. However, this is not going to go nowhere. The benefit of this is not going to slide up and down, and it's going to stay there. It's going to leave a little signature on the water, as they all do. Let's just face the facts, okay? They're going to leave some signature. But pretty easy to do. But there you go. That's the corks. That's the corks. And I might want to add that there is a use for every one of these indicators, just regardless of what you're doing there, for sure. But as technology goes on, as things adapt and people come out with all these new ideas, we get different stuff. Let's talk about the airlocks. The airlocks, I can't remember how long airlocks have been around there, but airlocks have gone through a change. You know, for years they were this material with your male and your female end up here with the slot, just like so. And then a couple of years ago, they went to this biodegradable material with still the same attachment point. You know, for me, what you can do with this is, and the beauty of airlocks I think people like is number one is the ease of use. But what most people do is you take your leader, you're going to take your airlock, you're just going to put that through the slot like so. If you folks can see that all right. If you folks that have done this before, you know, just kind of bear with me here, because I am going to show you a style indicator that I use that you can make yourself, that I truly believe in as well. So you basically just screw that down to where you need it to go, and you're attached. Easy to adjust. You just loosen up your nut there, your tension nut, I should say. Slide it. You know, if you need to go up, you need to go down. Real simple to do. That's one way to do it. The other way that I see people do this is they'll run the nut, and they'll show you this on the package as well. But they'll take your tippet in. You kind of run it up through this nut here, like so. It's not done that much, but you can take it just like this, and then you screw it on this way. But you kind of hinge it. You'll see that particular way there as well. I don't know if one's better than the other, but most people just run it through the slot. Biodegradable, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch. The key though to any indicator is you've got to react when something happens, okay? If not, you're just missing the boat, man. It's like you got a secretary in your office and you're waiting for an important phone call. You need to know when it comes in. So let's fast forward. What do we got now? We have these things called Oros. Oros you can get in a 3-pack, you can get a single packs, and they come in various sizes as well. So they've taken the technology of an airlock and they've tried to center it up by, if you unscrew, if you see, we're going to have the male and the female end. All right. So this is going to put it directly in line in your indicator. Your indicator directly in line on your leader tippet combination. Let me back up and re-say that. So we're going to come right here once again. I'm going to unscrew, and these are softer. They're a little bit, how to describe these, but they're a little squishy. I think it's a good way. It's kind of more of a, it's still a cell foam. I don't know if it's like they consider like an open cell or a closed cell foam, but it's a little, it's not quite as hard as the airlock. The airlock will almost bounce like those, if you remember those Nerf ping pong balls from back in the 80s when Nerf decided they was going to make ping pong there. I know I had one when I was like 4th grade. That's what those are like. So when you put these on, if you look, you're directly in line. You see that right there? Directly in line. So where the two colors come together, that's where your leader is. Easy to adjust. You just loosen, slide it, and then you twist and you're locked back in place. I have not personally used these. However, since we've had these, we've had a lot of folks use these, and we had a lot of requests before we actually got these in the shop. So apparently they do work well there. You are going to find what works best for you and what you like, and that's typically what you stick with. So real simple, those are the Oros. They do come in a plethora of sizes. Probably the benefit between this and the airlock, and one of the knocks on the airlock is this little nut here, especially when it's cold. If you drop that in the drink and you ain't got no more, you're pretty much useless. Okay, if she's gone and that's all you're left with, you're up the creek without a paddle per se. Where with the Oros, one of the things that they tout, and it's the facts, you can't argue with this point, is it's all made in. So you know, it's a lot easier to hold on to something this big when it's cold or you got gloves on than it is something smaller. So I do have to give them credit for taking maybe the best of both worlds and just putting them in different positions, getting a patent on it, and there they go. It does say patent pending, but anyway, they've done something where it's legal for sure. So let's get into your yarn style indicators. And once I said, if you got questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. New Zealand strike indicators, and I'm not going to open this up because of the way the packaging is on it. And this is basically a wool type indicator. It lands very softly, which is fantastic. The thing with the New Zealand strike indicators, you're going to get this little tool. On this tool, there is a little area that you take your leader, and you're going to take your leader and you're going to bend it over like so. We're going to pretend like this is the tool, and you're going to put that like this, and then you're going to slide off a little piece of clear plastic, and it's going to go onto your leader, and you're going to create a loop like this. And then you're going to take your yarn material, you're going to put it in, and then you're going to slide that down, and that's going to create your indicator. It is, like I said, a wool type material. It is very, very buoyant. It floats well, hence it's buoyant, but it's also very sensitive. It is fairly easy to attach. However, I have used these before in the past, and the one thing, the way this is set up with these little pieces of plastic, they are a little stiff, and you can lose those, but you have to have this tool with you. If you don't have this tool, you're kind of once again up the creek without a paddle, because you need this as in like a threader to be able to thread these onto your leader tippet material. If you don't have that, it's virtually impossible to take one of those little plastic pieces that you may have in a cup and try to slide it onto your leader. It's just not going to happen. So what I like to do, and since my wife works at a dentist office, is I like to use dental rubber bands, okay? So any of you folks that's fished with me when we've used some subsurface patterns and we've used some indicators, you folks are going to be real familiar with this. This is not my idea, further from the truth. This is a Pat Dorsey style of indicator, and if you want to pull his information up, you can. He's out west, and what I like to do is I take Bonnie cord. Bonnie cord you can purchase at any craft store, and it almost looks like macrame type yarn. And what I do is I like to pull out some strands. If you see here, you know, there's two, and maybe I'll take one more here. Let's just go ahead and grab 3. And I do this in abundance. So if I'm sitting around the house, I make a bunch of these up, and I take one of our fly shop cups, and I take a pack of rubber bands like this. I put them in the cup, and I take the material here, and all I do is I just sit there and I comb it out. I brush it out, okay? The neat thing you can do with this too is you can do this. You can use this material to tie flies, okay? But you're going to brush it out just like so, and then what happens is you get a mesh just like this here, and this is what you're looking for. This is what you're going to work with, okay? The beauty of this is you can control how big your indicator is or how small your indicator is. As a guide, when you're working with people who are maybe having difficulty seeing on the water, you can leave this material really tall, or you can go really short depending on the situation there, but it gives you the flexibility to be real creative, and it's super inexpensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this material and I put it in a cup, and usually when I put it in my cup, I leave it about that long, okay? So you see that's probably about 2 inches. Is that safe to say? Roughly 2 inches. So I cut 2-inch sections roughly. And then I put them in the cup. And when I get to where I'm going, I can make the adjustments that I need to do. And the way you put this on, and this is real simple actually, if I can do it, anybody can do it. These rubber bands like this, They're like braces, rubber bands. If you've been a kid, we probably sat in a classroom and we put them on our finger and we shot them. You guys remember doing that? Mm-hmm. Boom, shot them. So you take your rubber band, you're going to put it in your fingers just like so. Spread it apart just like that. And you're going to take your leader, you're going to bend it over and get right here. Double it over just like this. And this is the part I hope you can see pretty good. And you take it and you wrap it around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Let go of your rubber band. And now I can slide my rubber band down and I've got a big loop, just like that. And then what you do is you take your material. I'm using binding cord and it comes in all different colors, but I like the white. But you're going to slide that in there just like so. I'm doing a horrible job this morning. But we're going to slide that in there just like so. And then I'm just going to come back down there and I'm just going to tighten up just like that. Now remember, this is going to double over, right? Just like that. So there we have our indicator, just like this. So I have the ability to slide this up or down without having to take it off. It typically does not kink your line. You can put floating on it. You don't have to, but sometimes I will spray it with floating. You can keep a little brush with you if you want to, brush it out when you get out there. That's perfectly fine. If you want it bushier, you just put more material in it. If you want it thinner, you just put more material in it. But regardless, I will tell you, the neat thing about this is that it's super, 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 super sensitive. To me, the biggest benefit is it doesn't leave a splash on the water. It lands like a very natural fly. But if you got spooky fish, this is, to me, in my opinion, it's one of my favorite things to do with guests on the water. Other than the fact it's real easy to adjust. If you get down here where you're going to be shallow, I will tell you, if it's thin, it will slide on you. Okay, that's one of the negatives about it. So keep that in mind, make those adjustments. So we always have, a good selection of forceps and things. And this would be a time to have a pair of forceps that is a scissor style forceps that you can cut with. You can make that adjustment with you instead of carrying a pair of scissors. You can basically take those forceps, those scissors parts, and you can make those cuts to adjust how you want it to go, just like that. So once again, maybe another reason why you have a pair of forceps that has a combination of the scissors cuts on it. You wonder where you might use them. Right there you go. So you have full adjustability with this particular indicator. We don't sell these materials. You can buy these online, I think at Amazon, I'm sure, or visit your local dentist if you have a connection, and then bonding cord. But nonetheless, all the other ones we have in stock, they're probably on our website. I couldn't tell you, but if not, just holler at us there. What you have to do, though, is you have to find the indicator that's right for you and right for the situation. And most importantly, if you do not react when there's a change, you're messing up. So don't get mad at the indicator. I hope you found this video informative. It's great to be back with you folks. It's been a hot minute since I've been on here. And be sure to check out all of our social media channels. Visit each one of our 3 shops if you want. 828-488-3333. Hope to see you folks on the water. Get out there with some indicators. Play around, see which one works best for you, and y'all catch some fish.